Villarreal, a club esteemed in a rich history with plenty of footballing stars from the past, present and future, including that man Giuseppe Rossi, known as a legend by many in the last couple of years. Diego Forlan, a name that needs no further introduction, and also the most recent of the legends, Santi Cazorla. It really has provided plenty of incredible names over the last couple of years, and now there's some new names to go onto that list, including the likes of Paco Alcacer and one of their new recent top scorers, Gerard Moreno. Well, things are going a little bit bad right now at Villarreal, and somebody's going to have to take charge and get in there and really help this club to get back to their very best. Is it going to be me? We'll have to find out. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Villarreal, the Yellow Submarine, episode 3 of series 1, and if you haven't seen the previous episode, then I highly do recommend watching it before I spoil things in 3, 2, 1. There was a lot of action in that previous episode, of course, for those of you that did watch it, of course. Plenty of big signings through the door, that really bad injury to Gerard Moreno, but we have got another big deal that I cannot believe somehow we've been able to pull this off, and what a way this is to start episode 3. Well, I had a look on the loan section of the transfer window, purely because, as I said in the previous episode before, I wanted to get a little bit more squad depth right now. It's a very heavy team with a lot of players out on loan, but overall, I wanted to get a little bit more squad depth. Now, there was a certain player that came up at right back. Now, right back's not necessarily a position where we need squad depth. You know, we've already got 2 right backs. We've got Ruben Peña and we've got Mario Gaspar. But when a certain player comes up in the transfer market that quite frankly usually doesn't, it's quite hard to say no. And I don't know how, I don't know why he's been loaned out, but we have Nelson Cemado joining us here at Villarreal. Well, he came out of nowhere, just listed for loan. Real Betis wanted him, of course. I've got no idea why he's been listed by Wolves, of course. You know, when we go on to Wolves' transfer history, they've not necessarily brought in anyone in this window that you would have expected to replace him, of course. Cemedo's only just come in himself, but they put him on the loan list. Apparently, he's not usable for them. So a big welcome to Nelson Cemado. We have a brand new right back, and a very good right back at that. He's 3.5 stars rated, up to 4 stars. He's with us for the next 2 seasons, which is massive. And it does mean, of course, we are probably going to move on one of our 2 right backs. I think we're going to move Ruben Peña on loan or sell him, of course, with Nelson Cemado being here for now. But what a signing to make. Of course, Ruben Cemado, he's going to go straight into the team. It's a really, really good deal. And of course, I'm looking in the market for one more player. We're looking at a defensive midfielder. Of course, we've got Iborra, who, of course, can play in that midfield as well. But I want one more CDM, and then that is it. Business is done. Can we get that CDM in, though? You'll have to find out. But we've got a big game coming up against Atletico Madrid in 4 days. So if we can get the deal done before then, I'll update you. But we'll go into that first match, if not, against Atletico Madrid. It's going to be a tough one. So here we are. This is it. First game of the day. And as you can see, we haven't brought in our central defensive midfielder as of yet. Of course, we've got a few weeks of the window left, so I'm going to try and see what we can do before the end of the transfer window in a few weeks. But we've got a big game now. Atletico Madrid is the next team that we're going to be facing. It's our biggest test so far. Of course, only the second match of the season, and I'm going to go with the same team once again for this match. I think they did very well against Valladolid. Of course, it was my mistake for leaving the mentality on a bit of an attacking side of play when it got to the last 15-20 minutes, but stick with the same team. Now, the only change we've had to make is Kubo, who's coming on the left wing, of course, as I said, training him up as a left winger. So the best way, of course, for him to learn is to start playing as a left winger. So we've got him coming into the side. Alexandre Pato, well, just a little bit unfit for this game. He's going to go on to the bench for now. Of course, made a very good impression in that first game, but hopefully we'll see him again soon. As for the other players we brought in, Idrissi still not fit yet. We're going to be a couple of days before we see him. Loren doesn't start in this match. I think we'll see him at some point in this season. And then Nelson Cemado, I'm not going to bring him in for this game purely because Mario Gaspar did very well in that previous match. But without further ado, this is our biggest test of the season so far. If we want to make an impression in the league, we have to go out there and get, well, at least attempt to get a result. against Atletico Madrid. So let's go into this match. Big game this, very nervous. So let's have a look at the lineup that Atletico Madrid have got. Of course, Felix and Suarez in the team, Yannick Ferreira, Carrasco, to name a few players. In terms of the bench, they've got Kondogbia, the new signing, Lucas Torreira, Hector Herrera. It's a very strong bench, of course. But can our Villarreal side go out there and get a good result? So we are underway as the two teams who got a victory in their first match day face off against each other. You can see a 4-4-1-1 for Atletico Madrid in this game. We're going with our typical 4-3-3 formation for now. But 15 minutes on the clock here, and you can see Atletico Madrid just dominating possession slightly and having a few of the better chances, but nothing in this game so far. And if we can go and at least get a point in this match, I would be very, very happy indeed. Of course, Atletico Madrid, you have to say, will be up there at the end of the season fighting for the title, if not the top four. They've got probably the strongest team they've had in the last couple of years, with Luis Suarez in the side now. But we've got 10 minutes left of the first half. They have battered us in terms of shots and on target. Possession-wise, they've dominated us. But somehow, it looks like at half-time, we're going in at 0-0, which certainly isn't bad for us. Although I have to say, I'd probably say, I think I'll probably go with let's give the fans something to enjoy, which I don't think maybe the fans have really enjoyed it so far. Kubo hasn't really done much on the left wing, but I'm going to keep him on the pitch for now. Let's give it kind of 5 or 10 more minutes, and then we'll see what happens. We'll make those changes, of course. We have 5 changes that we can make in the league this season, so we'll have to make a few in a few moments' time. But 7 minutes on the clock of the second half, we've not had any shots on target. And I tell you what, let's just very quickly change it to that, drop down the tempo slightly, and hopefully get a few more shots on target here, because it's been quite appalling so far. I think even they're saying long range has been appalling, but there's a corner here, which is lobbed into the box for Felipe, who gets his head onto it. Asensio making the save. Going to get a second corner here, and Jimenez this time gets his head onto it, but Asensio in the goal is able to save it. And 15 minutes into the second half, I think it's worth making some changes. So we're going to take off Kubo. Oh, I clicked off the game there accidentally. Kubo's going to come off here for Moy Gomez, who's going to come on the left wing, make him a little bit more attacking. Paco Alcacer hasn't really done much in this game so far, but I'll give him a few more minutes. We'll bring Coquelin a little bit more central here into the game. And then, I don't really know actually, in terms of the changes to make. I think everybody's been alright, apart from 6.4 for Real Albiol, so we'll bring on Juan Foyth in this game with half an hour of the match left to go. So there we go. A few changes here. We'll make a few more changes in a few minutes' time if we don't have any more attempts in this match. In fact, what I'm probably going to do here, 17 minutes on the clock, is make those changes indeed. So Paco's not really done much in this game, so let's bring Loren on for his first, well, I think it's actually second game so far this season. We're going to take off Danny Parejo, who's on a 6.5. Let's bring on Manu Chigueros. And then I think what we'll also do in this game is we'll take Alberto Moreno off, and we'll bring on Pervis Estupinan on for the last 20 minutes of action. So we've pretty much made all of our changes now. I'm going to go out there and demand a little bit more from the boys. But in terms of the actual match itself, you can see how badly we've been dominated in this game. They've had 18 shots, 6 on target. We've just had our first shot on target with 7 minutes left to go. Hopefully we can hold on here, because we've got 4 minutes left. They're really going to go for it with the last couple of minutes left, as there is 3 minutes of additional time. Can they or ourselves nick a winner late on here? And they can't. Not the most enthralling game in the world. Very disappointing in the respect of what we did, but somehow we've come out of this game with a point. 62% possession Atletico Madrid had. 23 shots, 7 on target. We had 5 shots, 1 on target. And you have to say, realistically, it wasn't an incredible performance, but somehow we've come out of the game with a point. It's a very good point indeed, which puts us into 5th place. We can move on to our next game now, and hopefully maybe a few more signings into the club. But full time, Villarreal 0, Atletico Madrid 0. After our fairly decent 0-0 draw against Atletico Madrid, in terms of the stats, of course, we're now going up against SD Huesca, who are a bit of a gritty side. You'd expect them to be towards the lower end of the table at the end of the season. And as you can see on the screen right now, of course, this is going to be the starting lineup for this game. And well, you can see there's a few changes actually I've gone for in this match. Trying to tweak the system up slightly, because the 0-0 draw, yes, it was good, but we didn't really have that many shots on target. So you can see the back line, there's 2 changes. Funes Mori, the former Everton defender, he comes in for the first game of the season. I've got to say, he actually looks fairly alright as defender on this game. Hopefully he can do a job. We're going to see the debut of Nelson Cemado, of course, on loan for the next 2 seasons from Wolves. Very excited to see how he can do back in La Liga. We've also got Abora coming back into the side. He was injured in the previous game, so unfortunately wasn't able to play, but we brought him in, of course, into the team. He looks absolutely exceptional across the board. Former Leicester City midfielder. And then once again, the front 3 stays of Kubo, Alcacer and Chukwueze, trying to see if we can get Kubo a little bit more experience on that left wing, hopefully. We can see him shine in this game. Once again on the bench, you can see Alexandre Pato still not fully fit. Idrissi is now back. We might see him come on at some point in this game, depending on what happens. And then, of course, Malero drops to the bench alongside Raul Albiol. So without further ado, let's get into this game. It's going to be an interesting match. This one, of course, we saw in that first game against Valladolid. We had a very good performance, 3-0 up quite quickly in that match. So, we got to about 40th minute and we were cruising in that game. Hopefully we can cruise in this game as well. Looking at that Huesca side, they've signed Robert Snodgrass, okay? Each to their own, I guess. Shinji Okazaki is in the team as well. Former Everton striker Sandro. So they've got a few, I'm not going to say Premier League rejects because Shinji Okazaki certainly wasn't a reject, but they've got a few Premier League former players in there. But we are off and underway here. Huesca against Villarreal. Can we get a dominant performance away from home? We will have to find out indeed. Of course, you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, Huesca is playing a 4-3-3 alongside us with that defensive midfielder. So hopefully we can go out there and get something. But 25 minutes on the clock here. It's still 0-0. No team have had a shot in the game so far, although there's going to be a chance here for Huesca from the free kick. It's Robert Snodgrass who puts it into the back of the net. I didn't think we'd be saying Robert Snodgrass in La Liga, would we? And, well, he's pretty much scored a similar free kick to what Dani Parejo did in that previous game against Valladolid a few weeks ago. But not a good start here. Could be potentially 2-0, although it could be a counter-attack for Villarreal. Chukwueze coming down that right-hand side of the pitch. He's still going here, Chukwueze, and, well, a little bit greedy there. Takes on the shot at the right-hand side of the post, and certainly not what you really want to be seeing from the Nigerian winger 35 minutes into the game. Just lay it off, that's all you need to do. Well, I've accidentally clicked here for the tactics. There's no tactics I want to change, so let's go back into the game. What I did want to do is go a little bit more attacking, turn down the tempo, and most of all, I kind of want to turn these off, to be honest, and just play it a bit more free-flowing. So let's see what that does to the game. You can see, possession-wise, we've not dominated. In fact, really poor in terms of possession. And half-time, it is Huesca 1, Villarreal 0. And this is not good at all. Once again, you could see a moment ago that we haven't had any shots on target in the match, which I really don't like. So I'm going to change the game up here, try and control possession rather than go with wing play. Let's see what we can do here in the second half, or else we're going to have to make a few changes early on. But you can see the ratings on the screen right now. A couple of players on 6.4s and 5s. It's not what you really want to be seeing in the game. And in fact, I think we'll probably make our first change of the match in a moment's time as we reach the 1 hour mark, which we're going to do that right now indeed. So you can see Chukwueze having a really poor game. So I'm going to chuck on Idrissi for his first match of the season. Now, this is taking a bit of a gamble. He does say he can be fit for about 45 minutes of action, so I'm going to try and see what that does to the game. I'm also going to bring on Moy Gomez into the match. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to leave on Kubo for a little bit because he's doing quite well so far in this game. So I'll give him a little bit of credit. I'm going to bring Moy Gomez, though, on in midfield. Dani Parejo having an absolute stinker of a 6.1 performance in midfield. That's what we don't really want to be seeing. And then we're going to continue on with the game for a few more minutes. Get around the 70th minute and we'll make a few more changes on the side here. Because you might have noticed, of course, Paco Alcacer on a 6.3. Not a good performance from him today. So we've reached the 70th minute mark. We're going to bring on, I think we'll bring on Loren in this match once again. Give him 20 minutes to try and shine in this game. Hopefully he can get that winning goal. And then we'll make another change as well. I think we'll bring off Coquelin. We'll bring on Malero. And we'll make it a flat free midfield. And then I think we're pretty much sorted. Let's bring on Pato as well. So that's all 5 changes made. as we try and push here for an equalising goal in this game. 20 minutes left on the clock. Nervy times indeed now as we try and push. Let's put that tempo a bit higher and a bit more expressive. So this is it now. Can we get an equalising goal in this game with 14 minutes left on the clock? I'm going to demand a little bit more out of these players because it's been a very frustrating performance indeed. Anything else we can really do here? Distribute quickly and counter, I think would be the best way to go. As we start to run out of time. 5 minutes left on the clock. Let's go attacking and get that equaliser. 2 minutes left on the clock. Very attacking. I think we're going to run out of time here. And we do indeed. Well, that is a very, very disappointing loss against Huesca. Robert Snodgrass, a player who I never thought we'd be saying to play for Huesca in La Liga. He is playing for them though, unfortunately, and he's got the winning goal in this game. And well, you know, 3 games in, 4 points on the board. We really should be sat here saying we've got 7 points on the board and towards the top end of the table. But unfortunately, Robert Snodgrass was winner. Means that we're going to be sat 11th. There is a lot to think about as we go into the Europa League group stage draw in just a moment's time. You really want to stay ahead of this because are we going to get a good group or a bad group? I don't know, but 1-0 to Huesca at full time. There's a lot of work to do at the club. As I said, after the disappointing loss against Huesca, we're here now for the Europa League draw. Of course, we're in continental competition this season. We've already played 2 games today. A little bit disappointed in how things have gone, but we are going to have the draw in just a moment's time. Just thought I'd have a quick look here to see which teams made it through into the out of the qualifiers. Of course, see if there's any shocks in there. Besiktas getting knocked out by Rostov. That's a big result. Big result for the Russian side, of course. Ferencváros getting knocked out as well. Celtic v Dundalk, that'd have been a great game if it was real life. Maccabi Tel Aviv getting knocked out. Karabag out as well. So a few fairly, decent, reputable teams knocked out already at the qualifying stage. Besiktas probably being the biggest one of the sides. But this is it now. It's a big opportunity for us to see what goes on in the background in terms of this Europa League draw. Get ourselves prepared and ready for these games because they will come thick and fast, especially in this first season. I've already done a save actually off YouTube and off stream on Twitch where I had 3 games in a row, and what the hell has gone on here? Apparently we've got 3 injuries. So Asensio's gone out for 2 to 3 days. We've lost Baka now for 10 days to 13, which is a big loss. And we lost Pato for 2 days. So 2 fairly small injuries. Shame with Baka, but of course, we're quite lucky that we got Alexandra Pato in. So here we go. This is it. This is the moment that we've been waiting for. The Europa League group stage draw. And this is where things get very exciting indeed. We are in the first seed alongside the likes of Arsenal, Roma and Napoli. A few big teams in there, of course, we're going to miss out on, which is always fairly good indeed. In the second seed, some fairly big teams in there, the likes of Wolfsburg, PSV Eindhoven, Galatasaray. And I think the one team that you really don't want to get, Leicester City. That could be a very tough draw if we get the Premier League side, Celtic, in there as well. In the third seed, there's still some very good teams in this part of the draw. Real Sociedad and Milan being the 2 main teams that you kind of want to steer away from. Hoffenheim as well, of course, another team that you don't want to get. Of course, we can't get Real Sociedad because you cannot draw respective nations in your same group. And then finally, 4th seed, I think the 2 teams you really don't want to get out of the 4th seed is Nice and Lille. Both very good sides on their day. So without further ado, let's get into the Euro Cup draw. So the first team out in Group A is going to be Napoli. Second team out in Group B is Roma. Group C, I'm going to do it automatically. So Group C, CSKA Moscow. Of course, it doesn't matter really for us at this stage of the draw to who we get. So we're going to go into Group E. Interesting, of course. Can we get a respectable draw? We'll find out. Benfica going to Group H. Group I has Basel. Group J is going to have Dinamo Kiev. Group K has Copenhagen, which means Group L is going to have Arsenal. So this is where things get interesting. So Napoli are going to get Apoel Nicosia. Roma will get Ludogorets. So some of the smaller teams already coming out. We haven't got Leicester. So alongside us, we're going to get Sparta Prague. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. Could have been worse. Of course, Moscow getting Leicester there. A few decent draws in there, actually. Leverkusen get a PSV Eindhoven. Kiev getting Pulsen. Copenhagen getting Astana, which means Arsenal will get Red Star Belgrade. Right, let's not get Milan. That's the one we want to miss out on here. Milan and Hoffenheim. Group C is going to get Feyenoord. Group D will get POK. Please. Rapid Vienna. Good draw. Very good draw indeed so far. Group G will get Cluj. Some big teams still left in this. Basel, Galatasaray will get Partizan, which means all of the three big teams are left here. Who's Arsenal going to get? Arsenal are going to get Milan. That's a great draw for Group L in terms of the big teams in that. So finally, we're down to Group E. We can still get one of the two French sides here. Lille's gone. Antwerp have gone. We are going to get... is that an Icelandic team we've got there? We'll have a look in a quick second as the rest of the draw finishes off here. Group I is going to get Ammonia. Group J will get Willem. Group K is going to get Wolfsburg, which means Group L is a really good draw, actually. Arsenal, Red Star Belgrade, Nice and Milan. But we are actually going to get, in Group E alongside us, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce their name, but they have got Iderga Johnson as their manager, which is fairly cool to see. So that's a very interesting one indeed. Now, how did this side get through? So they beat Sonder 2-1 in the fourth qualifying round. They beat Motherwell as well. No pun intended there. They've got no recognisable players in their side, but somehow they've made it through. So we've got an Icelandic team in our group. They're going to go alongside ourselves, of course, Sparta Prague and Rapid Vienna. I've got to say that is a very, very good draw indeed. But before we finish up this episode, we are going to play one more game because it's been very disappointing so far. We haven't had a win in this episode. So we're going to go away to Elche, who are currently sat in 16th. So let's go and find out what happens in that game. And hopefully, at the end of this episode, we can say that we've at least got one win on the board out of these three matches. So we're on to our final game of episode number 3. As I said before, after doing that Europa League group stage draw, we've not had the greatest run of games in terms of results. A very poor result against Huesca and a decent point against Atletico Madrid. But let's try and go out there and get a win to end this episode. We're coming up against Elche, as I said, towards the mid-table positions right now. We're going to go with this team for the game. 4-3-3 once again, but this time there's no messing about. We are going to have a flat 3 midfield. Few changes coming into the team. Rulli comes in goal for this game. S2 Pinan at left back. As I said, the midfield comes flat rather than having a defensive player. And Moy Gomez comes into the side. Asensio's currently injured, as is Alberto Moreno. So we've dropped Kubo for this game. Pato and Idrissi still not fully fit to start the game, of course. I'm going to give Alcacer another chance. He scored in that first game, being a little bit quiet in those last 2 matches. But hopefully we can go out there, try and get a decent result on the board. I think it's very, very crucial at this stage that we do go out there and get something in this match. I'm going to change the tactics up there. I'm not going to go for wing play. I'm going to go for control possession because, to be honest with you, a little bit frustrated with how that last match went against Huesca. So I feel like if we kind of control the ball a bit more, we might be a bit better suited to that rather than going for wing play right now. So let's go into this game against Elche. Baka is out injured, unfortunately, so we aren't going to be seeing Baka today either. Don't know why it's gone onto that screen there. Let me flick it out. There we go. We want Trigueros in. So Baka is out for that kind of 10-day period. So hopefully he'll be back fairly soon. But let's go into this game now against Elche. Can we get a win? It would be nice to finish off with a victory at the end of episode 3. But you can see the side now for Elche. Guido Carrillo, former Southampton man, he's in there. Ivan Marcon, the Argentinian defensive midfielder, formerly from Boca Juniors, is in there. Rigoni, formerly of Zenit, I think, if that's the correct one. So not the strongest side in the world, and to be honest, we should be going out there and getting a win, so I'm going to go on positive. So let's see if we can have a few more shots on target in comparison to the last 2 games, because let's be honest, we've been pretty poor when it comes to attacking play so far, and I'm hoping maybe that putting a bit more of a control on possession and being a bit more organised might help us out here. But 20 minutes on the clock, we've already had 3 shots on target, which definitely is an improvement in terms of the last 2 games, but it would be nice to get a goal as we get a corner here for Elche. Sanchez Mino lobs the ball into the box towards Guido Carrillo, and Stephen Lukumi gets the first goal of the game, and well, it's out of absolutely nothing, to be honest. There's been no chances in the game for the home side so far. The ball's lobbed into the box. Ruddy kind of misses it. I don't really think there's much he could do there, to be honest. And Lukumi gets on the back of it, and we're 1-0 down with their first shot of the game, which is incredibly frustrating. And, well, not a good start to this save at all. So we're going to go a bit more attacking now in this game. And, of course, Lukumi on the right wing will be certainly very happy with that goal as we come forward here. Cemado on the right wing, lays the ball into the box, trying to get it towards Alcacer. He just can't get a touch though, but we're going to come forward once again here. Coquelin trying to get it towards the path of Chukwueze. Ball's cleared away, and a bit of desperate defending right now, although Cemedo's given the ball up here, and there could be a chance for Elche to make it 2-0 before half-time. Verdu, going to try and get the ball to Lukumi. Now it's Marcone, some good football here from Elche as they look to double their lead. Lukumi on the right-hand side, sprays the ball towards Sanchez. Mino takes the effort from outside the box, and what the hell is going on? We're 2-0 down, and it's quite shocking. Really, really awful play from us right now. When you look at the stats, we've not done that bad. We've done fairly all right, but it looks like here we're going to be 2-0 down at half-time, and that is incredibly, incredibly frustrating. In fact, I'm going to throw the water bottle. I'm very, very annoyed, and I don't care whether the players are demotivated or not. They can certainly book up their ideas, because that was a shocking performance indeed. So we're going to make the first change of the game. I think I'm going to bring on, at this stage of the match, someone in attack. I'm going to bring Kubo on, actually, and bring him on as a central attacking midfielder, because right now we're really up against it, and the last thing we want to do is sit back. So here we go. First change of the second half sees Kubo come on in his more usual attacking midfield position, and you can see right now, once again, really shocking performance from this side, and I don't really know what to do in terms of how to change it up, because, well, it looked like everything was working at the start, but obviously it isn't as we get half an hour in, and I'm going to have to make a few changes here, although there could be another chance here for Elche to make it 3-0. Carrillo's just missed a lovely chance there, and, well, we're very lucky here. We're not potentially 3-0 down in this game. Really, really poor indeed, I have to say. I'm tempted to go for 4-3-1-2, to be honest, and try and change it up here. So let's do that indeed. So Moy Gomez will keep on for now. He's going to play as a bit of a deep line playmaker, so we've got two of those. Chukwueze on a 6.5, he's been really, really poor. I'm going to have to keep Paco Alcacer on, because to be quite frankly honest with you, he's been really crap so far, but we haven't got another striker we can bring on. Maybe we could bring on Pato, I guess, but I don't really want to rely on a player that hasn't had a great deal of game time. We're going to bring off Estupinan for Jean Costa, who himself, I'm going to put him as an automatic fullback, and hopefully he can bomb up the pitch a little bit more in this game. But as for now, there's not much we can really do here. 25 minutes on the clock. We've got to go out there and somehow do better. Can they go out there and at least get one goal back in the next 10 minutes and give us a little bit of hope that we can somehow produce an incredible comeback? Doesn't feel like that's going to happen right now. And in fact, I'm just going to take off Paco Alcacer, because I'm going to say he's been absolutely shite. So let's get him off the pitch. Pato's going to come on at striker alongside Loren. Can the two substitutes link up together and get us back into this game? 15 minutes left on the clock. We have made all of our substitutions, I believe, apart from one, which we're going to make now, actually. Who do we bring on at this stage? Moy Gomez on a 6.2 is going to come off the pitch, and I'm actually going to bring on Manu Chigueros, who's just come back from his injury. Bring on as a deep line supporting player. And that is it. 10 minutes left on the clock here. Elche dominating in terms of opportunities. We've had more possession, but it doesn't mean anything if you can't put the ball in the back of the net. And, well, I'm going to go ultra-attacking now, because it just doesn't look like anything's going to happen here. And this has been a very frustrating episode, because it looks like here it's going to end 2-0 to Elche. And the referee, he blows his full-time whistle, and it's a 2-0 win for Elche. And I am absolutely perplexed as to how we've crumbled in that game. In fact, I'm going to thrash my arms about. If I could kick the chair, I really would. But we have just lost to 16th place Elche. It puts us down into 14th, 2 points away from the bottom. But of course, it's only the beginning of the season, so we're only 3 points away from the top 5. Really perplexed with that. They started off in that first 45 minutes incredibly well. You know, it looks pretty decent. It was an improvement on that first game against Huesca. But we've come out with a 2-0 defeat, a really shocking performance. And I'll tell you one thing, Paco Alcacer can buck up his ideas, because he's been absolutely wank over these last few games. And in fact, what I'm probably going to do for the next game is he's going to get dropped, and I think we'll give Loren a try. But I don't know where to go, really. It's been a bit of a frustrating end to the game, unfortunately, and a bit of a frustrating episode overall. We come out with 1 draw and 2 losses, and it's a very poor start to the season. But yeah, there's a lot of work to do, unfortunately, and we're going to have to get a run of games going soon, because you can see further down we've got some big games coming up, including against Barcelona. Nervy times indeed. And that is where I'm going to end this episode for today. If you have enjoyed the series, do leave a like and a subscription as always. Episode 4 will be out fairly soon, of course, but you can see, as I said earlier, it's been a very poor episode indeed. Coming up in the next episode, it'll be, I think it should be transfer deadline day soon, because the deadline day situation hasn't come up yet. So we're going to try and bring in one more defensive midfielder, which I tell you what, right now, we bloody need it if we're conceding goals. But in the next episode, we'll probably play another 3 games. We've got Real Betis at home, who are currently flying in the league, so that's going to be a very tough game indeed. We'll play Rapid Vienna in our first Europa League game. Hopefully we'll have a few more of our players back from injuries by then. And then, of course, we've got another game against Valladolid on the 25th of October. And hopefully by that point, we can have a much better episode. But as I said, for now, if you've enjoyed the video, do leave a like and a subscription as always. Put your plays in the comments as always for who you'd like us to sign over in the January transfer window. But as for now, have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and we hope to see you again soon. As for now, goodbye.